Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary O'Connor. On behalf of the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation, thank you to Alaska Public Media for sponsoring this program. We are glad you could join us this evening. We're very happy to have Jenny Paniati back on the program to tell us about Women in Aviation International and her career in aviation. Welcome back to Hangar Flying, Jenny.
Thanks.
On our last show, we talked about the new Alaska chapter of the Women in Aviation International organization. Now, you don't have to be a pilot to be in the organization, but you are. Can you tell us how you got interested in flying?
So I think like a lot of people in Alaska, although I didn't grow up in Alaska, my dad is a pilot. So I grew up hearing about how cool it was and every so often getting to go for a ride. And it was something I just always thought would be fun, and I had the time, and I asked my parents and they were really supportive. So that's where it all started.
So you grew up on the East Coast, but you moved across the country to come to Alaska to fly?
Yes, I was finishing up school back in Boston, and I saw myself settling into a very boring suburban life and figured I would stop flying because those things go away. So when I felt particularly boring, I bought a one-way ticket and showed up.
And you didn't come to Anchorage?
I came to Anchorage at first, but I've made my way around the state a little bit. So I lived out in Southwest, and then I lived up in Fairbanks, and now I'm back to Anchorage.
And you did some flying out of Fairbanks?
Yes. So when I went up to Fairbanks, I got my flight instructor certificate at ProFlight, which I absolutely loved the school, and they offered me a job, and I worked up there as a flight instructor for the last few years.
Great. And in addition to your love for flying, I think you also must enjoy school. You have a degree in education, but you're currently working on another degree. What are you studying now?
I'm finishing up a mechanical engineering degree.
And you're doing that in Anchorage?
Yes.
So what are your long-term goals? How are you going to fit flying in with engineering?
So my long-term career goal is to work in engineering. But flight instructing for me, it was never intended to be a career. It's just something I've done because I love. I love teaching, I love flying, I love sharing that passion with my students. So for me, for as long as I enjoy instructing, I plan to keep on doing it as I have time.
I think that's fantastic. Some of my best instructors that I really enjoyed and learned a lot from were instructing because they wanted to, not because they had to. It wasn't their primary job, but it was something that they did because they loved it. And it sounds like you're going to be one of those instructors yourself.
Yeah, the day I don't enjoy it is probably the day I should stop doing it.
Do you have an area of instruction that you prefer, whether it's ground or primary?
So I really enjoy private instruction, which some people might call me crazy for that. But everything is new, everything is exciting, everything is a challenge, and I think as an instructor it's a lot more challenging to teach a private student. There are a lot more small details, feel things, that kind of thing, and when your students do reach those milestones, there's just that much more excitement, that much more pride. So.
Do you have a favorite type of airplane to instruct in?
I've only instructed in Cessnas and small Pipers, so I guess the 152, it's not very fast, it's not very big, but it's kind of like a really slow sports car. So.
And do you think that you might get any additional ratings in the future or any certificates that might continue your education in aviation?
So when I was up at ProFlight, I had the opportunity to get a couple extra certificates just for fun, and I did, so I've got them in my back pocket if I ever need them. The only other one that's on my list of one day would be my multi-engine instructor. So.
Good for you. Going back to the organization Women in Aviation International, how have they helped you with your kind of dual interests?
So for me, when I was up in Fairbanks, I was instructing there for a few years, and I felt like I really became part of the community. And I would go to the airport, I would see friendly faces, I would know what's going on. And when I moved down to Anchorage this last spring, I didn't know anyone. I didn't know really anything about the aviation community. So by joining Women in Aviation, especially as someone who doesn't fly all day every day, it was a way for me to really still be involved, to get to know people, and just feel like a part of that community again.
Well, that sounds like a definite ringing endorsement for Women in Aviation membership. So thank you so much, and good luck with Women in Aviation International and with your schooling and your career.
Thanks.
It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy this program, I encourage you to become a member of the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation. This allows us to bring you programs like this. We appreciate your support, and we appreciate you tuning in to Hangar Flying. Until next time, remember, always file a flight plan and fly safely.